Hi everyone, it's Vicky here and welcome back to Festive Fridays, where I am sharing a festive project every Friday all the way until Christmas. Today I'm going for a Christmas card. For that I'm going for one of those cluster cards where I am building clusters with lots of layers one on top of the other. I find these type of cards really fun to create, and for that I will be using ephemeras so that I can build up the clusters and make them look fuller. In my new collection with Stamperia, I have 2 packs of ephemeras that I designed specifically to work with pretty much any project. So you will find they are very neutral in color and they match not only Christmas projects but pretty much everything. So for my card today, my main focal point is going to be this film strip frame, and I'm inking up the edges. I'm using coffee dye ink from my collection, and this is a lovely detail that I'm going to repeat on all the elements, and then I'm going to look for a very neutral background paper so that I can stick that on top. But another thing that you can do with those frames is to look for images that would fit inside that frame and turn them into your focal points. Anyway, for this design I'm going for a neutral background, so I'm going to stick that here. And although those ephemeras are actually stickers, you can peel them off and stick them down. I'm adding strategically glue so that I can later on cut out the part that covers all those holes on the film on the sides. Anyway, I made a mess as you can see here, but that's not a problem. Remember, I'm using my matte glue, which makes life easier since it's going to dry completely matte and it's not going to show at all. Now, since I am creating one card, I'm also making the exact same thing for one more frame so that I have another element ready to go for another card. But don't mind me, I'm just repeating the process twice. Now, I'm going to cut off any excess of that background paper for both of my frames. And I'm going to place the scissors underneath those holes so that I can cut out the excess. And I can definitely see the holes now. That's why I did use the glue previously instead of just peeling off the sticker and place it on top of my background paper. Now I'm going to bring in my ribbons. These are again from my new Christmas Plus collection, and I'm going to use some text stamp which I'm going to wrap on the background just to add some interest there. You can definitely do that with a stamp, but I'm using this ribbon because it has a lovely sign. This is the golden writing that I chose to go with. And again, you can get a similar look if you do some embossing with gold embossing powder, and that would give you some dimension as well. Notice that I didn't transfer that ribbon perfectly, rather than I moved it into different areas so that I can cover up a bigger area, and it looks more organic this way. And now as my focal point on top of that, I have this lovely ephemera of ornaments, which comes from the classic Christmas ephemeras. Just like always, you will find everything I'm using linked down below. Now I have a dark green panel of cardstock, and I'm inking up the edges again with coffee dye ink. It's a technique that I like to do again and again. It gives that vintage look and feel, it gives a vignette look that kind of brings the eye into the center of the panel. Now from my ephemera pack I did grab a few more extra elements so that I can build up the clusters, and again I'm inking up the edges with coffee dye ink. And before I put my cluster together, I'm going to bring in one of my stamps. And you can see here a bunch of those that I designed for Stamperia. Now I'm going with one that has some text, and I'm going to use that to add some interest on the background so that it doesn't look so plain. Just a little bit of interest and visual texture there is always fun. Again, I'm using coffee dye ink, and notice that I don't even use a stamping block since I like to have that organic look and feel. And now I have lots of elements ready to go, so all I need to do is to just audition them, play around, try to decide what looks nice. Once I'm happy with the placement, I will commit and start sticking everything down. For some of the elements I'm going to peel off the backing and just stick them down. For others I will be using foam tape at the back just to add a little bit of dimension. And when I am creating a cluster card, this is the fun part of the whole process where I get to play with all the ephemeras and try to find how I can make this look balanced in terms of shapes, colors and turn all these layers into a finished composition that is pleasing to the eye. Also, don't be afraid to use your scissors and make them your own. You can always cut them in half and use them in different areas of your composition. You can see here that was too long for what I was trying to achieve. That's why I cut out a little piece. Don't throw away that piece. You can always add it somewhere here and there to add an extra layer. Now for my sentiment, I'm going to use one of the ready-made ones from the same collection. I am going to place it on top of that long ephemera piece. And just like I do with all my ephemera pieces, I'm inking up the edges, and in this case I did fray the edges a little bit with my scissors. And the card looks finished already. However, if you want to add some extra touches, you can go for it. Little details always make a card look more finished, and for that I'm using some ribbons from my Christmas Plus collection. I went with the golden ones, and I'm just going to tag them behind some areas, which is going to add a touch of shine. Now I'm also going to bring in some of the decorative chips. I absolutely love them lately. I find that they help every composition look fuller, and I absolutely love using them in the neutral color as they are without coloring them at all, because not only it adds that extra touch on your composition, but it doesn't turn it look too busy. You can always use your scissors to make them your own. Just use bits and pieces here and there, no need to use it as it is, as a whole, and then all you have to do is to just use a little bit of glue and it's going to stay put. And if you notice, I'm working kind of in a diagonal from one corner to the other. That's why I'm trying to keep everything nicely balanced. And again on the other corner I'm going to add a leaf as well as some of the ribbons. Now this panel is slightly smaller than the standard card, so I cut out a piece of pattern paper, again from the same Christmas collection, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to place the panel on top, and then the whole thing is going to go on top of a card that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And because sometimes I don't know when to stop, I'm bringing in my new gold contour liner, and I'm going to add some dots here and there. These are gold dots and they're going to blend nicely with the gold ribbons. Apart from doing just dots, you can always outline elements, you can add dimension, create doodles and lines on top of your ephemeras like I'm doing here. For example, I'm kind of recreating a lace pattern on top of one of the ornaments, which is going to give it extra dimension and shine, of course. So that was the card for today. I hope that you had fun, that you got inspired. You will find close-up photos at the end of the video. Links to everything I used can be found down below. Don't forget to leave a comment and like the video, it really helps. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time.